Hello everyone, it's Sandra and welcome to today's video. It's going to be another Shop Your Stash Sunday video. Just a nice get ready with me style video in which I'm not using any new product in order to recreate one of my favorite looks from a professional makeup artist that I've liked in recent weeks. And today we're doing Vanngo. He is just the master of soft glam. And yeah, I'm very, very excited about this one. So let's put some makeup on and keep watching. These earrings are heavy. I would not recommend, to be honest. Let's put on some makeup. I'm actually going to take my blazer off as well, just so I can have full range of motion. I'm going to recreate a look that I love. I think I've watched this video 3 times already just because I love watching Vanngo do makeup. He is such an amazing artist. I love the care that he takes. I love the way he just does the most beautiful soft glam looks, recreating his neutral toned soft smoky fall makeup. He always uses the most gorgeous models as well, with the most perfect skin ever. The first thing he does is actually apply lip balm. So I'm going to do the same thing. I'm applying this Too Faced Hangover Pill Balm treatment. He's applying serums and eye care. I already applied my skincare this morning. As you can see, my skin is quite naturally oily. But I am going to put just a tiny little bit of this moisturizer. This is my daily moisturizer, the Omorovicza Balancing Moisturizer. I'm just going to use it kind of using his motions just to make sure that I do have a nice even canvas before I put on foundation. And he does these like lifting motions. It's almost like a mini facial. Skincare as a primer. He doesn't really use primers, which I think I find it interesting. At least in the videos of his that I've seen. When it comes to foundation, he is using Monica Blunder Cover, which is quite a full coverage product. I think it's like a cream foundation concealer type of product. Obviously I don't have that, but I do have a cream foundation that I haven't used in a long time. So I thought it'd be a great opportunity to bust it out. So I'm going to use the Giorgio Armani Power Fabric Foundation Balm. This is what it looks like. It's just this creamy product. I'm going to try to use it in a similar way to how he uses the Monica Blunder product. Then he takes a like kabuki buffing style brush to brush out the product. And this is the shade 4.5 in the foundation, if you're wondering. It's got like a really nice soft matte finish. This is actually a really beautiful, underrated, kind of fuller coverage foundation. It just doesn't have the most amazing oil control, but in the colder months I can make it work. I mean, it's definitely not something that I would wear in the summertime. It has a beautiful velvety finish. So he stretches out the product with the foundation brush. The foundation brush that I'm using is a Zoeva 102. This is one of my favorite foundation brushes. I've had this for so many years and it's amazing. Then he uses the same product as his concealer as well. So I'm just going to take my Sephora concealer brush and I'm going to build up the coverage where I need it. So we buffed out the cream foundation to more of like a medium coverage, and then using a concealer brush to build up the coverage just in the areas where I have some more hyperpigmentation. For under eye concealer, he mentions that he really likes a peachy undertone under the eyes. So I'm going to use my Sicily corrector first. This is my favorite product to use for canceling out any purplish, greenish, bluish undertones. I feel like I've got blue and green in there, and then going in with my concealer on top. I think he's just using one product for this step. He's got more of like a salmon-y pink concealer by Makeup Forever that he's using. So I'm just doing 2 separate steps to kind of achieve the same thing. So correcting, then taking my trusty Giorgio Armani concealer, just to brighten things up a little bit under the eyes. Then he takes his foundation brush to go over the area and just kind of marry the 2 textures together, which I think is a nice move. Next up is the contour step, and he uses a cream bronzer to contour, and I'm going to be doing the same thing. He's using, I believe, a cream bronzer by the brand Say. I'm using the only cream bronzer that I have right now, the Jouer stick. This shade of the Jouer bronzing stick is really good. It's the Sunset Skinny Dip one, so I'm just taking the matte bronzing side. This is the Refer 17 brush. It's like this smaller, flat brush. If I want a more diffused bronzer look, I really like the Real Techniques buffing brush. I don't want to go too crazy. So I'm just taking this and kind of stippling it on, swiping it off from the stick, and then this does such a great job at blending out the product, going on top of the cheekbone as opposed to underneath, so you get a more lifted look. Powder time, my favorite time to set the under eyes. He's using Laura Mercier, the Laura Mercier, I think he's using the translucent powder under the eyes, and then he's using the honey tinted powder to cover to set the rest of the face. I don't have that, but instead I'm using my go-to Pat McGrath under eye setting powder in shade Light. This is my go-to powder for the under eyes. It's my favorite. Then I'm setting the rest of my face with my by Cherie Hyaluronic Hydra Powder. And I've actually been using my Wayne Goss brush. This is the, oh man, the number 12 brush. This was, I think, initially a contour brush, and I've recently started using it for my by Cherie powder, and I really love it. Just because of the shape, I can set it down, and I just feel like I just get a really nice powder application with this. But it's soft enough, so if I do want to blend, buff anything out, I can do it. But I've just been using it a lot more this way because I don't really do powder contour anymore. So this brush was kind of sitting idle, but then I'm glad that I've been able to kind of find a new use for it. Next, he takes a powder bronzer to kind of marry everything together, just really taking the time to layer and using different textures. That way you really get pigment that lasts a long time on the skin. And he's using the Gucci bronzer, which is on my wish list. The closest shade that I have is this Tastic bronzer by Marc Jacobs. This glorious large bronzer brush. And this is the motion that he uses too. Instead of just swirling it and buffing, he just very gently taps the brush into the bronzer and then very gently then taps and gently sweeps on the areas where he is applying bronzer. Then he goes in with brows. I already have my brow routine down pat, and I really love this combination. I love to use the NYX brow pen and the Kosas Air Brow Brow Gel. I do the Anastasia Brow Freeze first, and this is a very extra routine, but it's what works for me, and I really love it. So through the magic of television, let's put on the brows. Now this is interesting because he starts with doing the bottom waterline with a dark brown eyeliner. I've got this Charlotte Tilbury eye powder pencil. This is a really nice, rich espresso brown color. And I love this pencil so much. And I think it's interesting that he's starting with the waterline, because usually if I am doing, you know, eyeliner in my waterline, it's probably one of the last steps I do in my eye makeup. So I always find it so interesting when somebody has a different routine. And he then blends it out with a pencil brush. This is the best brush to blend out eyeliner. If you're into that smoky liner look, get the Rephr number 3 brush. This is one of my favorite purchases of the year. Honestly, I love it so much. And it just makes it so easy. It's a bit more precise than the MAC one. And it's really, really soft. And I love the Charlotte Tilbury Classic Powder Pencil because it's so easy to smoke out. And it does last a long time. And it's just an awesome eyeliner. If you like that smoky liner look, if you like a liner that's really easy to smoke out. He does wing it out slightly. I'm not going to wing it out as much as he does because I've got winged liner insecurity issues. Then he takes a really nice mid-tone brown eyeshadow on a flat shader brush. He uses the Hindash palette. I'm using my trusty old faithful Naked Reloaded palette. This is one of my favorite palettes that I own. I think it's kind of got everything that I like in terms of eyeshadow colors. And I hadn't used it in a long time, so it's nice to be able to bust it out again. So I'm just going to use this color here. It's called Bucked, and I'm using it in the same way that he uses the mid-tone brown in the Hindash palette. Since that Hindash palette, if you've never seen it, I'm going to put a picture of it on the screen. Every shade in it has a gradient, essentially. So then he takes kind of like the middle of the rectangle where it's a little bit more taupey. So what I'm going to do is just mix this color with this color, or maybe this and this. I'm just going to try to mix a couple of the shades and get a slightly cooler toned brown. And I'm using a fluffier brush, and he just takes that in, creating a crease, like a little crease contour situation. And I like the advice that he gives with just using a very light hand and going slow and just slowly building up intensity, because it's easier if you just go slow and do a little bit at a time. It's easier to correct, it's easier to blend things out than if you kind of go full hog from the beginning. Just with those two mixtures, so with the bucked and distilled colors from my Naked palette, and I'm just using this little Hakuhodo brush to emphasize the smokiness. And then taking that fluffy brush again and just softly blending things outwards, up and out. Then he takes the Rephr 13 brush, which I love. If you have deeper set eyes, hooded eyes, this is such a great brush to kind of get in there and do any detail work or detail blending. He takes a lighter, like a pale matte shade from the palette, and he's using it to softly highlight the brow bone. So I'm going to take this Bribe shade and do the same thing. I'm actually going to mix it. So the Bribe and the Blur colors, I'm going to mix them on the same brush, and then he's just using it on the eyelid.
And then that's what you see.
I just love, even though he's using just a very core amount of browns, just by layering them in different ways and doing like the sweeping motions and different brushes, you can change different placements, you can really change the look. And this is shaping up to be one of my favorite eyeshadow looks I think I've ever done. And it's really simple. There's something really elegant about it. So anyway, then he just takes the dark brown again. I'm going to use the Endgame color. I'm going to mix the Endgame color from the Urban Decay palette with a little bit of the bucked color, and he's just using it very, very softly on the outer corner to get a little bit more intensity, just in the outer corner, I guess. And eyeshadow is done. I am obsessed. I absolutely love the way this looks. It's so soft and smoky and delicious. So please try it out this weekend. Let me know how you get on. Next up is lashes. I actually have the same mascara that he uses and it's such a good one. Lancome Idol mascara. If you want volume, you can do 2 coats. It builds up volume really nicely. For blush, he's using one of those Kosas duos with a nice soft sheen. And I think that Charlotte Tilbury First Love is actually it's just a nice, very soft, sculpted blush. And I'm going to take my NARS blush brush and I'm just applying it in these like upwards sweeping motions. This blush is really great for fall and winter, any time of the year in which you kind of want a blush that can work well with bolder lipsticks, but it can also work with nude lipsticks. It just gives a nice soft dimension to the face. So then he takes like a really small brush and he does highlighter just down the center of the nose, Cupid's bow. Very gently. He does a little bit in the inner corner as well.
The makeup is pretty matte, so I'm not gonna highlight too much on this area. Just a little bit.
All right, last but not least, lips, and he's doing this beautiful sculpted nude lip. I'm just going to take off any excess lip balm. And I'm using my trusty Laura Mercier Chestnut. And I really love that he blends out the lip liner with a brush. I'm using my MAC 219 brush because this is a technique that I've really been enjoying this year. And it's such a nice way to get definition, but it's like a softer definition. So he chooses a lipstick color that's just a little bit lighter than the lip liner, and it's got, he uses a lip cream by Suku, also has a beautiful sheen to it. I'm going to use Lisa Eldridge Kitten Mischief because I think it would complement the lip liner really well. Should I do a little bit of gloss? I feel like I need something just a tiny little bit lighter in the center. Maybe this old Dior lipstick. Yeah, I think this is better. Some setting spray. I'm going to use Clarins one. He uses a Huda Beauty one. There you have it. This is the finished look, and I think this is probably one of my favorite makeup looks on myself that I've ever done. I just feel really, really good in this makeup look, so I'm super happy with it. Definitely let me know if you end up trying this out as well. I think it's such a pretty look. And that concludes today's video. Thanks so much for hanging out with me and for watching. I am so happy with this look. I'm gonna need to find somewhere to go. Hope you're having a really great day, and I'll catch you in my next video. Bye.